gap
between policy and implementation,
between the privileged and the vulnerable,
between ideas
and realities.
Their mission is singular, a society that works for everyone.
We will talk to policy makers,
Implementers of policy,
analyzers of policy,
users of policy,
and everyone in between. Join us every weekday on Glow Focus, as every edition will leave you better informed on issues that mean so much to you.
On Glow Focus, our exceptional grip on issues and great vision for society are non-negotiable.
Because at Glow FM, our allegiance is to the people.
Glow Focus.
Glow Focus.
Glow Focus.
Glow Focus.
Glow Focus on 99.1 FM Akure.
Please join us.
You're on to GF.
Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational magazine show on 99.1 FM Akure.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Ondo State. Good morning, Akure. Good morning to your esteemed listener. Wherever you're listening to us from, a beautiful morning to you. Welcome to our mid-morning conversation program where we shed light on issues that matter most. We focus from politics to social justice, economy to culture, agriculture, education, and the list is enlarged. We also have our team of expert analysts and guests that will provide insightful commentary and in-depth analysis to help you navigate the complexities of our world. And today we are looking at the political scene, and of course a whole lot has been happening. Not just political landscape has been marked by numerous crises within political parties, often centered around leadership disputes, factionalism, and electoral contest. My name is Comfort or Molafe on behalf of my co-anchor.
My name is Mike Alim Obafemi. Good morning, Nigeria, and thanks for joining us on the Glow Focus for today, Wednesday. And of course, it's your mid-morning conversational program. On this program, we would address topical issues in focus after reading headline stories and reviewing issues in the dailies to keep you abreast of the latest from the dailies as well. Random facts in history would refresh your mind as we make your morning much better. Welcome on board and thanks for joining us.
Very quickly before we go on a short break, a lot of crises have been happening, of course, in the political landscape. First Republic 1960 to 1966, the Northern People's Congress (NPC) and the Action Group AG experienced internal conflict, leading to the imprisonment of AG leader, acting leader Obafemi Awolowo. And of course, in the Second Republic, 1979 through 1983, the National Party of Nigeria (NPN) faced internal strife, while the Unity Party of Nigeria (UPN) suffered a split after Awolowo's leadership was challenged. And then in the Third Republic 1992 through 1993, the Social Democratic Party (SDP) and the National Republican Convention (NRC) was plagued by factionalism and disputes over presidential nominations. And then in the Fourth Republic 1999 to present that we are in, the Alliance for Democracy (AD) and the All People's Party (APP) experienced leadership crisis. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) faced intense factionalism, leading to the exit of several prominent politicians, including Atiku Abubakar and, of course, Muhammadu Buhari. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has struggled with internal conflict, particularly during the 2019 presidential primaries and the 2023 leadership elections. Now, this crisis often results from leadership dispute and succession struggles, factionalism, and group interests, electoral dispute and party nominations, external interference, and manipulation. So, talk about these and, of course, the consequences of all of this. And that brings us to our topic of discourse for today, the African Democratic Congress (ADC), crisis over INEC's derecognition of current leadership crisis. Before we delve into this properly, we're going to short break. The program continues. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Moving straight to what is happening. But before we delve into our topic of discourse for today, Halim, as you know, resumption, Nigerians, of course, parents are preparing for resumption in a couple of weeks. We've seen parents hustling and bustling just because they want to get new school bags, they want to get new sandals, they want to get new clothes, new shoes, new socks, new things for their children. We would like to implore you, because at this moment, the price of petrol is on the high side.
Everything can be brand new.
Of course, everything has gone on the high side. So please, parents, take it easy. There's that popular adage where we saw that, but mommy, calming down. Please, you have to calm down this period. Don't give yourself unnecessary.
Don't impress
unnecessarily blood pressure. If you know your child's school bag is still okay, please make good use of it. If the shoes are still okay, make good use of it. If there is a need, important or necessary need for you to, change the shoes, the bags, you can do that. But if not, they can still. This is just like you're just going into third term. You can do that in the next session. I mean, let's just round up. What we are trying to tell you on the program this morning is, do not overstress yourself because you want to make your children happy, or you are competing with people. You want people to feel that, you are there, you have all the money. You can actually invest for your future with all of that money. So do not try to impress people while at your own detriment later. Nobody's going to come to you when you need money. You're going to face it yourself. So if you have all that money, why not save it and invest?
I guess that's where
and do other important things. So schools
communication
too
is important with kids.
Yeah, exactly.
They know that my dad or my mom will give me anything that I want, But there are some times that, they maybe if they can afford it, they would tell me to calm down, and subsequently I would get something. Parents have a way of rewarding kids, not instantly for good deeds, for understanding, for good grades and all of that. So, but this time around, as parents as well, I think we should now continue to understand that, you can't give everything to your kids, all the time. Plus, schools have their own stands as well. Schools make it look like, that's what is required for your kid to resume well. Resumption is resumption. You get. So if your kid already has like, things that they used before and they are not, badly put, they can be put together again for them to, continue schooling. And before the end of the year or maybe at another term, you would have, gotten enough resources to replace those things. And
even if you have enough money, that's where the angle I am coming from.
One thing that we should
don't
just
make it look like to some kids. That's why
then
you have
you
some
overspend.
spoiled kids these days because
so they don't respect others.
Exactly. So every time they change their shoes, their bags, and they feel that other parents or the other kids are not doing well. That's not it. You need to have a conversation.
Don't use your kid to make other kids, feel less of themselves.
So you make a statement. Some parents just do unnecessary things, and sometimes you begin to wonder, like, who is this person trying to impress? And those people are actually impressing people. People who are not even they don't even have enough.
Some people take it from that they take it to the PTA meetings
exactly
where parents now even oppress themselves.
So can we just take it easy?
Yeah, easy
on ourselves.
All right. Basically, I think you take it just like she said. An experienced person, being a parent of many bundle of joy is actually saying that. And sometimes, seriously, there can be pressure, right? There can be pressure because, especially kids and parents who have more than one kid. If you buy something for one, you must want to buy something for another.
Obviously.
So basically, maybe this is where parents should prepare ahead. Let your kids have things every time it's convenient for you.
Or you get it every session for the whole.
Then you store
term.
some. They use some. To an extent. Then later when they say maybe the kid is feeling like there should be a new thing, you go back to the safe and you bring it out.
Don't
like
try
it's
to
new.
impress anybody. People do not have your time, so just do you, all right, and be happy. Do you and be happy. Don't try to impress others and be unhappy.
That's actually the broader message to them. We hope that our people at home are very intelligent people. We know you're already feeling, the economic, downturn and all of that. And we know that you are putting things together to just make sure that your home stays, your job stays, your people stay as well. We salute your courage. So we're in this with you because,
yes.
we buy the same petrol.
The most important thing now for you, parents who have children, your children's school fees, please do not joke with that. Keep that money. Other things are secondary.
And I wanted to even say that sometimes we'll start seeing content creators who are now creating content around kids. They go about, they look for kids that are not well put together. Maybe their uniform is torn, their bags torn, or they what they pack their books to school with is an eyesore. I don't want to mention them in particular. These content creators, I think they are now evolving, and and you see people make donations and they tell them to pay for school fees for that kid from primary to secondary school, from secondary school to tertiary. So it means sometimes you look at your kid, if there is something you do not like by yourself on them, change it.
Exactly.
But not because somebody said in school that the kid is looking this and that. No. We know you want the best for your kid and you'll be able to take care of them, and we'll pray that God will give you everything that you need to be able to parent your kids
on
well.
a very serious note, when God gives you children, or you want to have children, because God has given everyone children, so you are the one who would call them to this world yourself. So by calling them to this world, make sure that you have preparations on ground to take good care of them. Do not bring children into this world whom you cannot cater for. So yes,
that's
obviously.
a broad message. That's a broad message.
So we'll flip on to the next segment of the program.
All right, next on the program, the issues in the papers this morning. We've got quite a number of them. We always want to start from home, from the Hope newspaper. Stories there as well. NAFDAC enforces salt limits in food to combat hypertension crisis. That's in the Hope newspaper, published from Ondo State. They equally have Oshun 2026 INEC reaffirms inclusive voting for people living with disabilities. That's a commendable one. EXU graduates 1,959 students at 30th convocation. All right, let's look at other stories this morning. In the Punch newspaper, the broader headline this morning is majorly about politics and how things have been so far. All right, let's look at them one after the other. The ADC have a story there. And of course, there is a story. Ondo ADC suspends congresses over INEC directive. And of course, there are other stories too. Let's look at still the Punch newspaper. Police arrest a suspect in Kogi graduate's murder and theft. That seemed like the law enforcement agency having their hands on this case there. We equally told you yesterday that doctors, were about to go on strike, and as of today, doctors, end strike. Hospitals reopen. That's a U-turn there, and a positive one in the Punch newspaper. Also, Lagos, in the Punch newspaper, Tinubu's visit. Lagos announces partial road closure for president. These are the headlines we have this morning. And also a check to the Vanguard newspaper. ADC crisis deepens as a third faction emerges. And of course, Strait of Hormuz reopens. That's on the international level as USA, Iran agree to a 2-week ceasefire. This seemed like a global good news because the Strait of Hormuz is where 20% of world's petroleum product actually passes, and if that is reopened, that's an advantage. Up to the north, in the Vanguard newspaper, ex-Kano governor dumps APC. Right, let's look at this. ADC is back on the story this morning on the Nation newspaper. ADC crisis. David Mark led National Working Committee State Chairman clash. Also in the Nation newspaper, NMPCL delivers 950,000 barrels first cow-turned cargo to Netherlands. Let's hope that we would have plenty records about the NNPC as well, supplying or meeting their demands in Nigeria. Why Nigeria's opposition can't build a third force that centers around ADC and other political parties. Let's look at this particular story too. Ejimako outlines, in the Daily Post newspaper rather, Ejimako outlines the next step in Nnamdi Kanu's appeal court case. A lot of Nigerians might be interested in that particular case. Still from the Daily Post newspaper, INEC insists voters' revalidation exercise remains suspended. It means the exercise has been suspended. We see that it is statutory for INEC to do that. U.S. diplomat Thibault Nagy raises concern over Nigeria's democracy ahead of 2027 elections. And of course, in the Daily Post newspaper as well, tragedy averted as protest erupts during funeral service for slain Angwa Rukuba victims. Let me take some of the stories, their headlines and the lead therein for the story. All right, let's start with this one. In the Punch newspaper, Ondo ADC suspends Congresses over INEC directive. The body of the story, the Ondo State, a chapter of the African Democratic Congress ADC, has suspended its planned ward local government state congresses following a directive by the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC. The party disclosed this in a statement issued today by its state chairman Wole Ade Moyegun. According to the statement, the decision was taken in compliance with INEC's directive that political parties maintain status quo pending the resolution of ongoing issues concerning the party. Still on the ADC, in the Vanguard newspaper, crisis deepen as a third faction emerges. Comes with the rider Kachiku's camp names Kingsley Temitope as interim national chairman. Another writer says Evans won't fall if ADC PDP are not on the ballots. That's coming from Lagos APC as they boast this morning. The crisis rocking the African Democratic Congress ADC took a new turn yesterday as third of a faction loyal to its 2023 presidential candidate Dumebi Kachuku emerged and threw its weight behind the derecognition of David Mark-led leadership and Nafi Gombe camp of the party. At the briefing in Abuja, the group said it is in total support of the decision of the electoral body to withdraw its recognition of David Mark and its EDCO in compliance with the decision of the appeal court. The faction, which named Kogi State chairman of the party, Kingsley Temitope, as its interim national chairman, also disowned the factional leader of the party, Nafi Balagombe, saying he did not emerge through any known or credible process to lead the party. made up of some state chairman of the ADC, the faction, accused the national chairman of the party, Ralph Nwosu, of trying to transfer the party to non-members led by David Mark, and loaded INEC for quickly distancing itself from the Mark-led administration of the party. Let's look at another political story this morning. Ex-Kano governor dumps APC. The former Kano State Governor Kabiru Gaya has resigned from the All Progressive Congress APC. Gaya, who also served as a former senator representing Kano South, dumped the party in a letter addressed to the ward chairman Gaya Arewa in Gaya local government area of Kano State. The former governor said the decision was taken in the best interest of his constituents and in line with his personal convictions to step aside from the party. According to him, now I quote, I hereby formally tender my resignation from the All Progressive Congress effective today, 5th April 2026, end of quotes. That was done yesterday, but the story was published today. Let's look at other stories before we have more discussions about these. All right, okay, this could interest the public as well. As seen in the Nation newspaper, why Nigeria's democracy cannot build a third-party force. For more than 10 years, attempts to create a third party could challenge the ruling All Progressive Congress has not succeeded. A recurring internal disagreement within Nigeria's main political platforms have formed a major obstacle and unifying opposition. You check for that story in the Nation newspaper. It seemed like a feature there. All right, let's look at the Daily Post newspaper. Ejimako outlines next step in Nnamdi Kanu's appeal court case. Aloy Ejimafo, counsel to convicted leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has provided an update on the status and the next step in his client's appeal at the Court of Appeal. In a statement posted on X on Wednesday, Ejimako said Kanu's notice and grounds of appeal were filed in February 2026, formally initiating the appellate process. He explained that the record of appeal comprising the charge sheets, proceedings, exhibits, rulings, judgment and sentence has already been compiled by the Registrar of the Federal High Court Abuja, transmitted to the Court of Appeal. According to him, the next step involves the filing of briefs of argument. These are the early stories we've seen. We'll take some of them again, but first let's look at the ones we have read. Comfort.
Yes.
We've seen the story about the ADC. We've seen the story about the APC as well, where a former Kano State governor has equally resigned from the party, and the INEC's disposition that the revalidation of PVCs remains suspended, despite that activity being a statutory one required for INEC towards a seamless election.
See, first, we are going to take it one after the other.
Yes.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Will crumble.
Exactly. And of course, when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Now, ADC, I'm going to take this very quickly. You know, the African Democratic Congress, they are embroiled in a fresh crisis, you know, following the INEC's Independent National Electoral Commission's decision to de-recognize the party's current leadership, led by David Mark. And this move, of course, has sparked different intense reactions from various factions within the party, with some accusing INEC of bias and interference. And I want to let you know that this crisis began when a faction of the party, you know, led by Dumobi Kachuku, emerged to contest the leadership, claiming that the current leadership was illegitimate. Now, INEC has thrown its weight behind the decision, citing a Court of Appeal ruling that ordered the maintenance of the status quo ante bellum, meaning that they have to return to status quo. Now, the ADC's crisis deepening as the party faces the possibility of being unable to contest, you know, or participate in the 2027 election. See, all these warring parties. Now we have three factions of the ADC. For them to win, for them to, you know, move on, for them to form a united party, they all have to bury their grievances. You know, come together as a team. That such party, I'm sorry, they're just joking. They are just joking. If your house is not in order when charity begins from home, Halim,
Of
if you
course.
cannot put your people together, even from the family level, leadership level,
It will be difficult
it
to
will be difficult
lead
to
a
lead people.
nation.
No, let's even begin. I like to begin from the community level,
Layer
from the
by
home.
layer.
You cannot lead your home. You want to lead your community. How possible is that? You want to lead your state. You want to lead the nation. How? It's not possible. It's not a rocket science. So you just have to, make sure that your party is okay.
Organized.
Everything's are fine. Then you can then move forward. I must tell you, if they can come together, united,
And resolve their differences.
we might be struggling between the ruling party, the APC, and the ADC, because PDP have their own crises as well. But we just hope that, of course, now it's already looking like we have 3 major political parties in Nigeria without adding sentiment to it: the All Progressives Congress, the People's Democratic Party, and the ADC. But we just hope that ADC, all of this party, especially they all have their internal crisis. APC has theirs too, but they have a way of managing everything. But now the PDP needs to also work. But the ADC is what we are talking about today. Let them come together. Let them put their house in order first. If they are really serious and intentional about contesting for 2027 elections.
All right, that's it. Let's look at INEC, going back on its, first let's look at Nigerian doctors who have actually ended strike that, just fairly started, and they have reopened hospitals. Now, the story says patients and medical staff across Nigeria a sight of relief on Tuesday following the suspension of a planned nationwide strike by the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors at the Just University Hospital, Teaching Hospital rather, and Plateau State Specialist Hospital. Patients and staff expressed relief at the reprieve. And of course, even before the suspension of the short-lived strike, service at the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital were largely uninterrupted. At the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, medical activities continued even as the strike loomed, although there were outpatient services were briefly affected. NAD was set to begin an indefinite strike on Tuesday over delayed salaries, unpaid allowances, and other welfare concerns to its members. My question to you this morning is this it, or they will come back again and tell us something? Because if you go and agree something that is not favorable just because maybe you don't want to look bad and all of that, something will prompt you to come out again and complain.
Okay, presently, there's a high-level government intervention, including engagement by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Dingyadi. NARD, yesterday morning, announced it was going to suspend the strike, giving the federal government a 2-week ultimatum to resolve the outstanding issue. I'm telling you, Halim, with all my full chest, that this is not going to be resolved in 2 weeks, because we've had this before. But how can we now find a way around it, to make sure that we do not have the reoccurrence of this thing? Let the government study. We keep saying this. It's something they can do. We will have all our health workers, leaving the country all the time. And these are the ones who have said, okay, we are going to fight for Nigeria. We're going to defend. We are going to give it our all to make sure it works. And you're not making them okay. You're not doing them well. You're not doing them fine. And you expect things to go on well. I'm also glad, on the other notes here, that they turned back one, that other hospitals like that of Ekiti, they were not badly affected. They were still carrying out their jobs. Even in Ondo State here, despite the looming, strike and all that, they were still doing their jobs. Some pay just a little bit of pay. About 10% of patients are affected, about this strike or no strike. They are still doing their jobs, and I must commend the health workers for doing their jobs. That shows that they have passion. Please, it goes beyond passion. Sometimes when the passion keeps burning and all that, if it is not fueled, the passion would revert. There won't be any passion anywhere anymore. So please, let's encourage our health workers who have dedicated their time to the well-being, to the health of Nigerians. And we do not want this to reoccur again, but I am telling you, I don't want to say categorically, that after 2 weeks, we're going to have this again. So we just hope that the government...
You're not being pessimistic.
I'm not being pessimistic.
You're not being realistic.
I'm being realistic.
Because this is Nigeria.
Exactly. We just hope the government, they know what to do. They should do the needful.
Okay. Maybe
and stop procrastination.
Thank you. Before we leave that issue, maybe one of the things that an average Nigerian would commend President Bola Tinubu's administration for is that there has been a stoppage or a halt on ASU strike. It has gone to bed to sleep. So
during my time, I experienced 6 months as a strike. I think it was in 2013.
6 months.
Yes, 6 months. Cool. There were some who experienced 2 years, 1 year, and all that. I mean,
people who went to Lautech, some of them spent 7 years or 9 years on a 4-5 years course. So it was really tough for them. But thank God, we've all had our fair share of these things, and we can all work together to make sure that we can avert them. All right. In the Daily Post, we read earlier that Ejimako has outlined the next step in Nnamdi Kanu's appeal court case, and he said, that the record of appeal is comprising the charge sheets, proceedings, exhibits, rulings, judgment, sentence, and everything. And they are now at the next stage is to involve a filing of brief of argument. They are preparing to go to court to go and argue because there are many grounds, 22 grounds of appeal seeking to overturn his conviction and all of that. Nigerians have spoken about this. Haneze Indigbo have spoken so much about it, but we do not know what may happen again because Nigerians are even saying that maybe the judiciary were very kind to Nnamdi Kanu to have, not use all of the weight of the law on him.
There's an addition to that, the federal government has responded to this case, will file its own brief within 30 days of being served, after which the defense may submit a reply brief within 14 days if necessary. And of course, Ejimako said the briefs would form the core of the appeal with oral argument at the hearing limited to clarifications. Now, adding that, no fresh evidence or witness testimony will be entertained at this stage. We just hope that, this case, because I'm telling you, I sometimes when people observe and see that, there's this Yoruba adage that would say that when an old person sits, they know what
they see the future a lot.
Exactly. So
like a kid climbs the tallest tree, he might not see it.
He might not see it. So I already envisage the outcome of this case, but I just hope that the needful is done because the community, the entire world, they are watching us, and we hope that the needful is done. That is what I would say.
All right. In the Daily Post as well, INEC insists the voters' revalidation exercise remains suspended. That's what they are saying this morning. The Independent Electoral Commission, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Resident Electoral Commissioner for Osun State, Dr. Mutiu Agboke, has reiterated that the revalidation exercise remains suspended in the state. Agboke made this known on Tuesday during the continuation of stakeholders engagement meeting held across local government council areas in Osun State, disclosing that directive for the suspension was issued by the national headquarters of the commission, stressing that the decision remains binding as of now. Well, you have a job, but sometimes you bend it, But one of the agencies of government that you do not want to see them bend things is INEC. Because if you bend for one, you might be asked to bend for more. All. So we don't know. But it's something that they could get back to. But, Nigerians are concerned about the timing. That if you have to do cross-check before, ahead of an election, when do you do it? It's better you start early so that you know how many of these things are available. We said it yesterday or on Monday that some people are dead already and their PVCs are just there. Nobody will take it. And this takes us to some of the sundry issues that people have been saying on the street, that at some quarters, some people will say, okay, bring your PVCs. Then they note it down. They write the serial number down. Don't you think INEC should look at these practices? Because except the beavers, something that would read the PVC, nobody should write anything down on the PVC. Even when you go to banks, all they do is scan and have a copy and ask you to go.
While everyone is trying to jostle for their party, 2027 elections and INEC doing their own part, a monarch in Osun State has come out to warn. That's the Owa Obokon Vijesha land. He has come out about Adeshuyi Hastrop. He has warned politicians because we know now, that they are desperate. Everyone is desperate. Aside from, of course, some little modalities effect, from the INEC and all that, and political parties. He has come out to warn, politicians operating within his domain to desist from acts of violence, particularly killings linked to political activities. And I'm telling you, please, to everyone listening at this time, from this
don't fall for those
don't fall for
things.
it. Don't fall for. Let them use their children. Let their children come defend them. Let their children fight for them. Because the warning is coming at the time when we need it most. And please, Nigerians, don't allow anybody, because when you are gone, you are gone. There's nothing, no amount of compensation can be given to your family. If they want to vie for any post, any politician vie for any post, please let them do that with their family members. Do not, go into what you might not envisage the outcome.
Whatever your father or your mother wouldn't want you see you doing, don't do it.
Yes.
For anybody. All right, still in the Daily Post newspaper, tragedy averted as protest erupts during funeral service for slain Angwa Rukuba victims. Tragedy was averted on Tuesday during the funeral service of some victims of the recent attacks on Gari Yawaye community in Angwan Rukuba, Jos North local government area of Plateau State, after a protest erupted following the arrest of 3 youths in the area by security agencies for allegedly defending their neighborhood during the violence. Eyewitness reports that trouble started when the protesters made up of community women, men, youths, clashed with security operatives at the Ekwa Gospel Church in Angwa Rukuba, where the funeral service was to take place. It was also gathered that the demonstrators, who carried placards with various inscriptions, alleged that the 3 youths had been arrested despite defending their community during the violence on March 29, 2026, where over 30 people were killed by yet to be identified gunmen. The protesters reportedly vowed that the funeral service would not be conducted until the arrested youths were released, insisting that they were not bandits but patriotic youths whose only crime was defending their community.
I stand with them, Halim. I stand with them. While we're trying to, sometimes while the police are supposed to, or security operatives are supposed to do what they need to do, they arrest the wrong persons. Why not do your intelligence gathering well, before arresting people? These are persons who have come to defend themselves. There's something called self-defense, and they're defending their community. And of course, while terrorists came, instead of you to arrest terrorists, you're arresting those who were defending their people. And now you want to have, a funeral service.
I think
for
that
those
is a line. I think that is a line. The line would likely be that the security operatives are saying maybe
they didn't do the intelligence gathering well.
You can't take laws into your hands, and even though you are raging, you are not happy, but there are some things you cannot do.
Halim, what would they have done at that point? Let's be realistic. Let's leave paperwork. Let's leave some things that have been said before. Now let's be very realistic. I mean, we have bandits coming to your country. Those who think that they can help will come out to help. They were supposed to arrest or go after the bandits, not those who were trying to defend their community members. And now you want to hold funeral services. Do you know if they have their loved ones, who have also been buried or who were attacked, who were killed during that massacre? Please let them do the intelligence. Or they fear
that the attack could happen again.
See, we are all humans. Even while carrying out our duties, we are human beings. So I think that should come first, even before the law. And because Yorubas would say that Roman Fitomo Jenny, these are persons fighting for their people, and you know that they are grieving. Some might even have family members who have been killed, and now you are not releasing them. I'm glad I'm the part of the youth and part of the village saying that if they do not release the other 3 members of the community, the funeral service will not hold.
All right, let's look at one more before. Well, okay, we can take a few more. We've got this story from the Hope newspaper, and it says NAFDAC enforces salt limit in foods to combat hypertension crisis. Yes, the story. The Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Mojisola Adeyeye, on Tuesday warned Nigerians against excessive sodium consumption, linking it to rising burden of non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and stroke. Adeyeye gave the warning during the stakeholders' engagement on the draft reduction of sodium in pre-packaged foods regulations 2026, where she described high sodium intake as one of the leading dietary risk factors for preventable death globally and in Nigeria.
Most definitely, Halim.
Yes.
Health is important. There's a health program on this station every Saturday morning, and we talk about our health. Health is important. I try as much as possible to tell people that while you are gathering all the wealth, ensure that you put your health in check. That some of this is these days Nigerians. I don't know if you don't have too much salt. If you don't have too much salt or too much of Maggi, you feel like you don't feel it. Well, that's not it. That's I'm sorry to say, but that's poison. When you take too much of it, your body do not. And Nigerians, you eat a whole lot and you don't take plenty of water. You take all of these things into your system and you don't take water to detoxify your system. Exactly. and some don't even take water at all. They would have finished it and, oh, I didn't drink water, I ate about 2 hours ago. We don't even take more of water. If you have to take these things, just a little bit of salt, a little of Maggi, and you may not even add Maggi. There are other things that you can add together. Go on the internet or probably follow some of our health programs on radio where you can have other things joined together aside from Maggi, and just a little bit of salt, a little bit of salt. You don't need to all the spice and all that is dangerous for our health.
Seasoning and spices and a lot of some. They feel like anytime I'm cooking, my neighbors should know that there are levels. Which level?
It is not about levels and all of these things. There are some they are adding colors, especially those of us who like to make fried rice and all that, jollof rice and all that. There are so many colors that are added to all of those things. So go natural always, and a little bit of spice, because in the long run, when you're in your 40s, your body, like pidgin people would say, your body go tell you. So then if you have done that before, this is a call to action, a new era. Now let's change the narrative. Take plenty of water, just a little bit of salt, a little bit of Maggi if you need to add it.
This could interest you as well, and our people at home. In the Nation newspaper, the story reads: NNPCL delivers 950,000 barrels first cow-turned cargo to Netherlands. It says the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPCL) Limited yesterday said it successfully delivered its maiden, that is the first of its kind, 950,000 barrel cargo to New Carlton blend crude to the Netherlands. That's a country on its own. The state-owned oil firm also said it utilized a New Carlton floating storage and offloading FSO vessel linked to oil mining lease OML 18. According to the press statement issued by the group chief communication officer Andy Ode, these exports loaded on Sunday, 5th of April 2026, aboard of MT Boronons and now en route to global markets, signals NNPC's aggressive push to elevate Nigeria's crude production and diversify its portfolio of high demands export grade. The word is export, that is outside. How about inside?
Halim,
yes.
Enough of all this paperwork. We want to see results. We don't just want to hear they are doing this. We want result, and let the result be visible to Nigerians. That's just what I have to say. Let of export, import, and all that. We need results. Those are things that we need. We need its effect on our daily lives, on transportation, on other areas, strata of the economy. Because already into economic meltdown, we keep having this all the time, year in, year out. For how long would we continue like this? So we don't want all of this. We want results.
All right, I guess we'll pick a few reactions from home, and also Dr. Shegun Akeredolu to look at some of the stories we've read so far. Then, of course, we still have more things to come on the program, and we hope that you stay tuned with us. You can also watch us live on Facebook. Search for Glow 99.1 FM Ijakwa State Akure. When you find it, please drop a comment. Let's know what you are thinking about some of the stories already read to your hearing this morning. And what we started with was the fact that kids are going back to school now, and you should, just do your best and not, do anything out of pressure. These kids would understand. That's why you have to befriend them. Be friends with them, let them understand what you have and their need as well.
We've got a short break now. The program continues shortly. Please stay tuned. All right, you're welcome back. It's still Glow Focus right here on Glow 99.1 FM. Of course, we have one of our analysts, a legal luminary and a public affairs analyst, to join us to help us dissect some of the stories we've read out here hearing, and particularly the issue of discourse for today. Today, we are looking at, political crisis rocking in Nigeria. Of course, the ADC's fresh crisis over INEC recognition of current leadership crisis. And of course, we did say that the African Democratic Congress is embroiled in a fresh crisis, following the Independent National Electoral Commission's INEC decision to derecognize the party's current leadership led by David Mark. Now we have a three faction in that party. This move has sparked intense reactions from various factions within the party, with some accusing INEC of bias and interference. What's your take? What do you make of all of this crisis rocking the ADC at the moment? And of course, there are chances of victory come 2027 elections. Dr. Keredolu, are you there?
Are you there, sir?
Hello, Dr. Keredolu. All right, we have issues with the network. Many thanks for joining us, Dr. Keredolu, on Glow Focus this morning.
Are you there, sir? Oh, good.
All right, so we've read quite a number of stories. Yes, quite a number of stories, quite a number of issues happening in Nigeria at the moment, and would like you to react to one of them, one after the other.
Although ADC has suspended congresses over INEC's directive, they are complying with what INEC is saying, and there seems to be a third faction to the ADC now, complicating their crisis. And of course, we said it earlier too that the NMPCL has actually sent out a landmark 950,000 barrel to Netherlands, and don't you think that would make a lot of Nigerians concerned that even the home quota has not been met fully?
Honestly, but the confusions in everything in Nigeria today, they are so very complex that I cannot even begin to understand where to start or why we're having all these issues. Let's start from ADC issue. The ADC issue is the issue that is foreseeable. What I mean by that, they ought to have known right from the beginning that not only APC now, but other presidents also that is going to, with people that are involved in that movement. For example, you don't expect the Labour Party, especially those people that were looking at Labour as the alternative.
Hello, you there?
All right. Guess the network. Yeah.
To GF
Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational magazine show on 99.1 FM, Akure. Rise to the peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1 FM, Akure.
thank you very much for staying tuned. We now have a legal luminary and a public affairs analyst join us again properly. Dr. Akeredolu, glad to have you
Please
join us
continue
again.
with your comment.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you know?
You're live. We can hear you.
Oof.
All right.
I guess we have a battle with the network this morning. Actually, one, of the general challenges, in
facing
Nigeria.
Nigerians.
Yes,
Not Nigeria as Nigerians.
And sometimes too, it has to do with where one is. Hello,
Hello, Dr.
Please
Akeredolu,
continue.
are you there?
Hello?
Please
Yes.
continue. Continue.
Yes, I'm here. I
Okay.
guess for the network that was bad.
Right.
Yes.
So the point I was laboring so hard to make is that ADC also have anticipated that all this for them may properly accord if they have looked at the system very well and if they consider themselves as the main opposition. Opposition simply means you are gathering some people that you are opposing. You cannot be opposing people without expecting people also to oppose you. It's a normal thing. It's a regular thing. However, when people are expressing some sentiment and they are blaming the ruling party or anybody for the problem, and they refuse to blame themselves for it. The question is, the person that went to court, is he a member of APC? No. The person that gives judgment, as in the case, is he APC member? No. You have the matter in the High Court. The High Court has not made any pronouncement. Instead of you to face the case in your High Court and make sure that the matter was decided once and for all, no. You took preliminary objections or interlocutory objection to the Court of Appeal. You go to the Court of Appeal, you allow so much time to be spent and wasted on that. After 3 months now, the court makes pronouncement. It was the court that told INEC or that gave an INEC to maintain status quo. It's not INEC that went to court. It was one of the persons that are supposed to benefit from that judgment that went to court. Nobody is looking at that. But what we are looking at, everybody now is trying to define what status quo antebellum is. It was a mistake on the part of the ADC. I think ADC should learn from that. I will advise ADC that the best thing to do now is go to High Court, Federal High Court, file all your necessary documents, file everything that you ought to file, and file a matter of urgency, affidavit of urgency. Display all these things and place this all file before the court. Let the court decide once and for all. From there, you can continue to move forward and not unnecessarily setting Nigerian policy on fire. As you observe comfort, the truth of the matter is this. The matter of the truth is this. There is no way you fail to take care of your home and you think issues will not arise. It's not possible. It's not possible. That is exactly what is happening in ADC today. Let them be more deliberate and strategic in make sure that they have a mechanism to settle every issue that may be coming out of whatever they are doing. That's what I would advise.
Okay. The NMPCL this morning said they have delivered their maiden, that is the first ever 950,000 barrel cargo to new Carlthorne blend crude in Netherlands. And a lot of Nigerians might be asking, you are meeting up with external demands. How about internal demands? Does that put us well as a country?
Well, economically and globally, I think it's putting us in a kind of a way that Nigeria also has been becoming or is getting to the point that naturally it should be among OPEC, among oil producing nations, among importers of oil, whatever. Then I think that also is sending a signal the federal government has refused to talk about. Don't forget that before we could not export anything out of the arrangement they had before, because all those crude we are producing for years were already spent. What I mean by spent was that Nigerian government at the point was borrowing money, and what they are using as collateral for the money or the payment plan is that they will be producing crude, and this crude we are producing, we give it to you to for the settlement of what we've taken from you as loan. So it was we took loan and we are paying in advance or in arrears with our crude. But I don't know, I'm not talking from any inform. I was just thinking that perhaps we've settled some of those loans, and now we are directly reaping from those settlements, and I think it's better for Nigeria. I don't think Nigeria will have problem with crude. The problem we have was that the arrangement we had with Dangote refinery was not solid, was not anticipatory enough. We didn't foresee a situation where the price of petroleum in international market will jump to such a height that it would be difficult for Dangote to continue to sell at the price it was selling then. It was the problem. And I think Nigerian government have learned from that. But the problem with Nigerian government, I would still say, in the communication gap between the people and the society, or that they are making it so very difficult for people to access this information online. It's difficult if you are wanting anything official in Nigeria today to get it from any easy, simply tap and click search tools to find those information. That's the problem. I want to believe that's the basic problem we're having in Nigeria. There is no testing in government.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Akeredolu. Very quickly, we have this question for you this morning. Of course, quite a number of things happening in the papers. I just want to ask you, do you think that Nigeria can actually, go on that ride of one-party system?
That will never happen. By the grace of God, I've been in Nigeria for quite some time, and either watching from distance or a little involved in politics. This same noise that is going around now, I'm sorry to use the word noise, or this fear that is being expressed in the very erratic notion, also happened in 2001, 2002, and of course it's cumulated to the big picture we had in 2003, when all the ADs in southwest Nigeria lost their position either at the government, in the governor, number of governors they have, and the houses of assembly, except Lagos State. That was shout, PDP then was trying to turn Nigeria to one political party system. And then even PDP was shouting that they're going to take us everywhere and that Nigeria, they're going to rule Nigeria for 60 years. That has not happened now. And people that are saying this are not taking cognizance of the fact that even ADC is also losing, APC, yes, they are also losing at the National Assembly now. People are decamping. In the past 3 months, people have decamped. Some of them from ADC to another party, APC to another party. So it's not possible for Nigeria to become one political party system. It's not possible. It's only some of the opposition, they are jokes, honestly.
All right. Do you know that for more than 10 years now, attempts to create a third party that could challenge the ruling All Progressives Congress have not succeeded? And of course, recurring internal disagreements within Nigeria's main, political platforms form a major obstacle to unifying the opposition. Now, what's your take on? Because, and as it is now again, Dr. Akeredolu, I'm coming. We have most governors, defecting to the ruling party, APC, and you are saying that it will never happen. I mean, how do you just oppose that?
Now, let me try to bring it for this. Don't forget that in Nigerian history, at a point also, PDP had almost 28 or 30 of the governors out of the 36 governors we have in the state. They went for an election with that magnitude and number, and yet they lost. In the last election we have in Nigeria, also APC, despite the fact that I was having so many governors, some of the governors, they lost in their state. Not only lost, they also lost their governorship at the presidential election in their state. What am I saying? What I'm saying is simply it's not the party, it's not only the governor that will vote. Opposition will vote, people that are neutral will vote, other person also will vote based on some factors. And don't forget, if you monitor, if you are following what is going on in Nigeria now, there is this new dimension that has been introduced to the Nigerian electoral system, this religion-based thing. Before, they used to pretend about it. But today, even people are campaigning in the church, using the pulpit, people are campaigning in the mosque, calling out parties, calling out politicians.
Even with bag of rice in churches.
Even with bag of rice. And this is somehow very funny because if you look at the Electoral Act, and it has been there. Even in 2022 Electoral Act, that you cannot campaign in the church, you cannot use religion to campaign, masquerade could not come to your campaign ground. But we saw all that in last election and nobody said anything about it. So the problem is the people will vote and they will decide, and I can assure you, we never had one party system in Nigeria. It's not possible. It can never happen.
Dr. Akeredolu,
people that are the campaign.
Before we let you go, if we don't look at this story, it won't be nice. On Punch newspaper, it says, dismiss the soldier boy, backs pay claims with receipts and dares army to release payroll. The lead of the story says a dismissed Nigerian soldier Rotimi Olamilekan, popularly known as Soldier Boy, has dared Nigerian army to release his payroll after displaying bank transactions alert. He said proved that soldiers earn modest wages and are compelled to buy their own protective gears.
Well, it's quite unfortunate that this is happening in Nigeria and that this is happening to Nigerian military. Immediately people begin to make this kind of allegation. It's a very serious matter that I think should be taken very seriously. I don't want to prejudice whatever investigation that is going to come. But for an individual to come out and say things like this, it simply means that person perhaps has some facts or some things that is going to. Again, had it been I have a way I can get to the Nigerian military and the authorities straight, I will advise them to handle the matter with care and be very, very careful about it.
And not make the job unattractive to others.
There are some of these soldiers that they are not happy. That is just the truth. So they should not complicate that situation. And I hope God will continue to bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Segun Akredo, for speaking to us shortly. We may reach out to you again shortly.
In the second part of the program.
For being part of this first part. Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right.
All right, that's it. You can now be part of our conversation, and you have the privilege to call. The numbers are 0805-551-1110
or 0706-677-1822.
Remember, we are live on Facebook at Glow 99.1 FM Akure, or download the Glow FM app on Google Play Store. You may also listen to us live on Radio Garden or via our website www.glowfmradio.com. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Adam from Akure.
Your name is Adams. Thank you for joining us, Adams.
Yes. What I want to add on it is that whether because the angel we know or the Satan we know is more than the angel we don't know. Baba have programs for us in this in 2027 or after, whether we win.
So this is not an avenue to campaign, right? You can just bear your thoughts on the state of the nation. You can't campaign for anyone. You can't campaign for anyone. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Please move away from your radio set.
My name is. I can do that. My name is Dangote. Danjuma.
Please go ahead.
Please, I'm tired to buy my case and waiting for problem of the country. It's just because of it don't concern you, it will concern you. That is why. So please, I want to give us the place where we can comfort. As that now. That the thing survive, that Nigeria will survive for one party. I love that question. So God will bless her for that. Thank you very much.
Amen. God bless you too. Thank you.
I guess you were just saying his mind there.
Most definitely.
But he had to call to say it in his own way. Exactly. What he wanted to say. Okay.
0805-551-1110 or 0706-677-1822. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the conversation. Remember, we're live on Facebook. You may also drop a comment under the live streaming session at Glow 99.1 FM. Akure.
All right. And of course, remember, we have a big talk on the program shortly. And of course, it will involve resource persons, including politicians who are going to, be engaged on this national discourse for today. Any of the stories we've read, you can also react to them, much later during the program. You can always call in, send us a text, or even drop us a comment on Facebook. And of course, just like we said this morning, we've read a number of stories. The one, we would remind you again is the fact that NAFDAC wants you to feed more and decrease the number of salt that you put in your food intake. So you have to really be conscious of that. But there are sometimes you can't control these things because if you buy food from outside,
we are so used
prepared.
to that. That's because we need to have a mindset shift, to live in the new normal. I don't want to say we've been doing abnormal things before. Let's now live in the new normal. Yes, things. Because in those days you find people, those who have just clocked 70, 80, it means in those days they never ate too much of Maggi, they never ate too much of salt. Those days, so we in our generation, we are taking too much of salt, we're taking too much of Maggi, and I just pray that we'll live long. So but in a bit to live long, I want to do that, it takes a conscious effort, especially what we take into our system. Lesser salt, lesser Maggi, do more of natural things. Lesser sugar is another thing.
All right. Things you have to lessen, please do them so that we can all stay alive for a very, very long time.
We're going on a short break now, Alim, and then we'll return very quickly. Please stay tuned.
Your Toronto, GF.
Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational magazine show on 99.1 FM, Akure. The peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1 FM, Akure.
Is Random Facts.
The human body contains enough carbon to make about 900 pencils because carbon is a fundamental element in molecules studied in biochemistry. The world is becoming increasingly urban. Over half the global population now lives in cities.
This is Random Facts.
The human body contains
Welcome back. It's still Glow Focus on Glow 99.1 FM, and today we're still looking at ADC's fresh crisis over INEC recognition of current leadership crisis, and that brings us to the reporterial segment. But before then, we need to let you know that the African Democratic Congress (ADC) is embroiled in a fresh crisis following INEC's decision to derecognize the party's current leadership, led by David Mark, and this move has sparked intense reactions from various factions within the party, with some accusing INEC of bias and interference. And the crisis began when a faction of the party, led by Dumebi Kachiko, emerged to contest the leadership, claiming that the current leadership was illegitimate. INEC has thrown its weight behind the decision, citing a court of appeal ruling that ordered the maintenance of the previous status quo. Now, the ADC's crisis deepens as the party faces the possibility of being unable to participate in the 2027 elections if the leadership issue is not resolved. The party's inability to submit a valid membership register and conduct primaries within the legally prescribed time frame is now a doubt. And that brings us to the report on this issue. Let's take a listen.
statement by his National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Aruno, maintained that his decision was guided by his commitment to neutrality, urging political stakeholders to act responsibly and avoid actions culpable of disrupting preparations for the 2027 general elections. Reacting to the development, Ondo State Publicity Secretary of the ADC, Kunle Adeloye, said the party will seek legal redress, insisting that the decision by INEC would be challenged in court.
The interpretation given by INEC that they now recognize the leadership of ADC is like INEC took the same in the place of the court. They are now adjudicating, because if two disputants went to court and the court said that status quo ante bellum must be maintained, it is not in the position of INEC to now turn itself to court by now ruling by delisting the leadership of ADC. This is the greatest of shenanigans that has ever happened in this country, and I can tell you for free, we are in the court to challenge the illegality that INEC is trying to impose on Nigeria.
Adeluyi further alleged that the electoral body failed to act impartially in the discharge of its responsibilities.
INEC should be seen as unbiased empire, but the way we are looking at INEC now, it seems to us that INEC is an extended arm of APC, it's an appendage working for APC, and Nigeria will not be turned to a one-party state. Nobody can coronate President Tinubu for second term. No, we will never take that. In democracy, any leader must come up through the popular choice of the people. So that is the position of the ADC, as I explained with you. We are challenging that decision legally, and I can tell you for free, our court will not sleep on their fundamental right of adjudication.
A public affairs analyst, Henry Olonimoyo, described INEC's decision as unexpected, warning that the unfolding political developments could create instability within the political space.
Time and time again, the courts have pronounced that the affairs of a political party is largely internal and is supposed to be handled by them. That INEC or any other third party cannot have a say in who the leaders of a party are. Why is it that now, when they're about few weeks to holding their national congresses and state congresses, then INEC is taking a position like this? For me, it's a very dangerous path we are trading, because Labour Party has had their problems, SDP has had their problems, now ADC suddenly has a problem now. PDP, of course, had its own problems. So the question is, are we saying that we don't want alternative political parties to vie for the presidency in the next election? INEC descending into the ring is passing impression that INEC is not being neutral.
On his part, another public affairs analyst, Benga Adeshino, attributed the crisis to internal party issues, questioning that failure to resolve them could have adverse effects on the party's future.
Before now, ADC has been, but do they really have the standard? Are they good the way they were now? They were not like this before, but because of the coalition that gave them the legs for people to come and say, okay, it's like this party will come and do something in this matter. But now, if they do not settle things amicably, I don't see them doing much. ADC may go back to the status quo of just being a political party. They may not be a force to be reckoned with. If they go within themselves and settle, and they do the congresses, they go to convention and elect those people again, as the constitution agrees with, I think everything will come back to normal.
As the situation continues to unfold, observers say the controversy highlights the fragile nature of party politics and the need for internal cohesion as well as institutional transparency ahead of the 2027 general elections.
This is Random Facts.
The human body contains enough carbon to make about 900 pencils because carbon is a fundamental element in molecules studied in biochemistry. The world is becoming increasingly urban. Over half the global population now lives in cities.
You're on to GF.
Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational magazine show on 99.1 FM, Akure. Rise to the peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1 FM, Akure.
right, glad to have you. Stay tuned. This is still Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversation program on Glow 99.1 FM. Today we're looking at fresh troubles for ADC following INEC recognition of the current leadership based on the crisis rocking the party. And we have a public affairs analyst, Lekon Olajobi, on the program. Glad to have you join us this morning, sir.
Welcome on board, sir.
Hello, are you there?
Are you there, sir?
Glad to have you join us, Lekon Olajobi, your public affairs analyst. Of course, we reintroduced you earlier, but you are not on public affairs. Glad to have you join us. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. I'm with you.
Okay, we're pleased to have you join us this morning. Thank you for accepting to talk to us on the program.
My pleasure to have me too. Good afternoon or good morning.
Good morning from this end. Okay, so very quickly, we're looking at the crisis rocking the ADC internal crisis, and of course, INEC recognition of their party towards 2027 elections. I want to ask you, based on the implications of these, what are the implications of INEC's decision to de-recognize the ADC's leadership, and how will it affect the party's participation in the 2027 elections?
Well, the political season at the moment is coming out with quite a lot of strange situations that must be attended to, else our democracy will be on trial as it is. The issue going on at the African Democratic Party, that's the ADC, is an issue that is not new to our political parties in Nigeria. And I think the problem stems from the fact that most of these political parties are not formed on the basis of ideologies. And that's why cross-carpeting is very easy at any point in time, which of course has become a serious and even a serious concern to the growing democracy that we say we practice. The ADC issue at the moment is degenerating. And then if at the end of the day, they are unable to find a lasting solution to it, it may end up in a situation where they may not be able to field a candidate because the timeline with INEC and then some other processes, the electoral processes right now, they are running against time. And then because of this, our judiciary too has quite a lot to do in this. But unfortunately, we are going through a situation where political parties right now are just like a hobby that you can switch on and off anytime you want to, because the law and the ground norm of our constitution has not prepared, even through the electoral amendment view that they didn't put that into consideration. So people can come in the morning to be a member of Labour Party. In the afternoon, you can be an ADC member. In the evening, you can go back and forth. So until this is clear, I am seeing this situation of the ADC as one which, at the end of the day, would serve as a catalyst to allowing us have a lasting solution to these problems, because as we see it, it is not clear yet whether they will be able to have a correction of that process. The bottom line right now is that from the problem of David Mark and then Nafiu, it has.
Okay. It was actually in the middle of the conversation there. Let's hope that we'll reconnect quickly with them and have the rest of his take, because Dr. Segun Akeredolu was almost joining us when that went off. And also we hope to talk to Comrade Abosede. Okay.
We have Olalekan Olajobi rejoin us.
Still there.
Yes. Are you still there, sir? Yes.
Okay,
yes,
good.
I'm with you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I was saying earlier, we have a lot to do about this party formation. I mean, political party formation. And this was one of the things that the last regime, I'm talking about precisely Buhari's regime, was trying, to come up with in terms of making sure that the requisites of registering political parties and making sure that the political parties are being not only made for the purpose of elections alone, but that they should stand on the basis of their ideology, that even when they lose or they win, they must still remain a political party, just like what we had in the First Republic, where political parties were formed on the basis of interest groups and then pressure groups. An example of that is what happened when the AG was formed by Obafemi Awolowo then, because it metamorphosed from the Egbe Omoduduwa group as a pressure group who is standing upon some interest within the government and against the government to put them on their toes to make sure that they transform into a political party. But you and I, as we speak, can form a political party right now because the requisite is so fluid. And then when that is formed and is not on the basis of ideology, we can switch modes and move from one political party to the other. So I am seeing a situation where you cannot even distinguish amongst all these political parties in terms of ideology. For ADC, maybe they are going to serve as that example right now that will lead us back into rethinking that political parties should be formed on the basis of ideologies.
All right, ideology. We now have Dr. Segun Akeredolu, a legal savvy and a public affairs analyst, to join us on this matter as we await the person in charge of media and publicity of the ADC in Osun State, Comrade Abosede Oluwaseun. While we wait on him, Dr. Akeredolu, similar question for you. What is the implication of this back and forth between the INEC and the ADC? Tell us, what roles, should we expect INEC to play? Has INEC not interfered so much in the internal affairs of a party like the ADC?
Now, let me come from this perspective and say that it's not the law that determines the society. It is the people in that society that determines the law. No matter what law you want to apply in Nigeria, unless we have national reorientation and rethinking, and as I will always say, we go back to, especially in Yoruba land, we go back to our Modu Abi mantras, and we begin to respect morality and love for one another and respect for national interests against personal interests. We will continue to have the problem we have in Nigeria today, no matter what law that is being put in place. Now, let's come to the issue of internal democracy and INEC. Honestly, when everybody is coming and bashing INEC, I just smile and laugh and say, a lot of people are saying whatever they are saying about INEC because of their personal interest or political attachment. Now, what do I mean by that? INEC was just sitting down in their office when some people left their different parties, APC, ADC, APC, PDP, Labour Party, NNP, or whatever it is, and they went to ADC. Now, when they got to ADC, what did they do? The first thing that crossed their mind to do was to find a way of removing all those people that were in that party as National Working Committee, as National Executive of that party. Now, let me ask you one question. What is the morality in that? What was so very urgent that these people could not wait for the National Congress of that party or for the time allotted for it to lapse so that they can hold national conference and change their leadership? In the alternative, why did they know they are going to do that? Why didn't they work conscientiously to make sure that everybody that is involved there is persuaded, is made to understand what they are going to do, and let everyone without exception key into it directly? If that has happened, ADC wouldn't have been in the position they are today. Now, when everybody disturbing INEC and saying that INEC has interfered in the affair of that political party, in what way? INEC was in his office when a member or members of those party wrote a letter to INEC and say, this is our new, what's it called now, acting national executive of the party. INEC said, okay, if that is what you want, they accepted it. Another person came from the same party with another letter and said, no, I am entitled to be this position that you registered or you enroll somebody because by the organization and operation of our law, the constitution of ADC, I am the person entitled to be the chairman of that party because the law provides so, and so. I need to look at the law, look at the person and said, no, I'm not going to dabble into that because the party told me this and I believe. And the person that was refused recognition by the operation of the law, I mean ADC law now, went to court. And when the individual got to court and said, court declared me as the rightful chairman of this party and all that. Another person said, no, before you even do that, let me go to Court of Appeal. And they went to Court of Appeal, and Court of Appeal gave an order that INEC should maintain status quo. Please, let me ask this question to everybody that is sincere, that is genuine, that is open-minded. How has INEC interfered in the affair of ADC? Now, let me also come back at home and also bring this example to fore. About 3 months ago or thereabout, APC had a problem in Ondo State. And some of their members went to court. I think 4 or 3 days to their local government work congress of APC. They said, no, I want the court to stop APC from conducting these primaries. And in an interlocutory order, the Federal High Court Akure made a very loud position and said, no, stop and don't do anything until this matter is decided. They made a copy of the enrollment of that order, took it to the national headquarters of APC, and APC reacted within 24 hours and said nobody should go and conduct or should go ahead with local government World Congress in APC. And somehow that issue was became an issue.
All right.
And when APC was going to appoint the chairman, the state chairman, a lot of things happened. A lot of people are beating, a lot of trouble, a lot of angles, a lot of actions in court. But APC, they sat down, resolved this issue to the satisfaction of everybody, and that problem was averted in ADC, in APC. In
all right, thank you.
ADC not following the same procedure.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kredo. We now have the chairman, Directorate of Media and Publicity, Osun ADC, Abosodi Oluwaseun. Glad to have you join us this morning on the program.
Welcome on board, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear us?
Loud and clear. I'm with you.
Thank you very much for accepting to talk to us on the program this morning. So very quickly, quite a number of questions, begging for answers this morning. I'm very quickly would like you to react to this question that had been asked earlier. What are the implications of INEC's decision to de-recognize, the ADC's, your party's leadership, and how it will affect the party's participation in the 2027 elections? And I would also want you to tell us, can the ADC still participate, in the elections, and what steps do they need, or do your party need, to resolve the crisis?
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a busy day, so I will first apologize ahead if my phone rang and I have to cut it, so there may be 1 or 2 seconds delay.
Understandable.
No problem. So, but yeah, thank you. Now, but to answer your question directly, let me start from, can we participate in the 2027 election? Yes, definitely. We believed that the will of the majority will definitely shall supersede the wish of the few who are attempting to truncate the hard-earned democracy that Nigerians fought for. I fought in the trenches for that democracy when I was small, and a lot of people did the same thing, and this was what we bargained for. But before digressing to other kind of thing, I know that ADC will participate in 2027 election. We still have until May 30 for us to complete all the electoral processes, as difficult as it is. Difficult to know that INEC was just bringing up complex processes to ensure that other parties who are just coming up did not meet up with the timeline. But we are managing, and we are coping before they chew up this one now. But as I've said, the case is back, and what is the genesis of where we are? We had a situation whereby someone that participated in the entire process of how the leadership of Senator David Mark came up, now turn around after the whole process has been concluded. That is the man that is Bala. So now, without taking your time, so we believe that there was a case at the Federal High Court judgment had not been given. There's another case at the Appeal Court. Appeal returned us down to the Federal High Court, saying that status quo should come in place. You and I know the rest is history. A lot of things has been said on that one. So now we know that we have time. We still believe in the judiciary. There are bad eggs in the judiciary. There are good ones. that are still there, we believe that the men of conscience and goodwill that are still left in the judiciary will do the right thing. And they will. And what is the right thing? This thing is very, very simple. The leadership of political party is a pure internal processes of each political parties. I give to you the instance of APC. The current APC chairman that we have presently now, the man from Jos, who happens to be serving in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a minister before he was chosen to come and lead APC as a party. As at the time Ganduje resigned, I put it to you, and it is evident and everybody knows that this current chairman was not even in the National Working Committee of APC. They have deputy chairman there in APC. None of the deputy chairman knew that they were not the one that is rightfully to occupy the place before Ganduje resigned. No, it's an internal party of the system in line with your constitution. And what is the arrangement? The National Working Committee will sit down. Our chairman has resigned. Who is going to lead us? Nobody will be there automatically because the chairman resigned. The National Working Committee have the power to make decision for the party. After they have made the decision, the next thing is NEC. So in the case of ADC, the National Working Committee resigned, that they made a provision that, okay, Senator David Mark will lead us. After the National Working Committee made their own decision, the neck of the party sat, including all the state chairmen. Nobody denied that they did not there, including Bala himself. They sat there and they approved of the decision of the NEC. And INEC was there 4 months ago. INEC itself deposited an affidavit at the court against this same Bala Mohammed, claiming that Senator David Mark had fulfilled all the processes. Hence, is the national secretary, is the national chairman of ADC, and Aregbesola is the national secretary. What now happened? But that was when sanity was still in the process. That was when we are still doing things rightly. That was when the APC led President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, before they started feeling jittery that ADC has become the order of the day. So as at that particular point in time, things were still going on smoothly until they begin to realize we had said that a Peter Obi cannot work with El Rufai. They had said that an El Rufai cannot work with Kwakwanso. They had said that an Amechi cannot be in the same party with Atiku. They had said, oh, Aregbesola cannot be in the bed with all these set of politicians. But eventually, we have a situation whereby today, Kwakwanso is in the same party with Atiku. Kwakwanso is in the same party with Obi. Kwakwanso is in the same party with El Rufai. Amechi is in the same party with Aregbesola and a whole lot of others. So they discovered that all the elite capturing that they have been doing has come to naught. And what do I mean by the elite capturing of the APC-led President Bola Ahmed Tinubu federal government? The elite capturing that means that they are capturing all the governor, all the National Assembly, all the rep, forgetting that it doesn't matter. These are the people that will not win election for you. In any case, of the G5 governors that supported Bola Ahmed Tinubu the other time, entirely all of them but one lost his state. Of all of them, about 12 of them or 13 of them that contested for Senate, all of them lost their seats. So to come back to what we are saying, so they discovered that the mass movement of Nigerians that is working cannot stop the force of ADC. As to whether we are not going to party, as to whether. So what we are now saying is that we are now calling on the good gentlemen of the press, men of conscience. A lot of people have been hearing, including former national rep of INEC and their legal advisors. They have said, no, INEC, you are wrong. All these things were happening because Nigerians don't build institutions. We have weak institutions in Nigeria. The INEC cannot stand on its leg. The police are subsidiaries of the federal government.
All right, very quickly. All right, I know you have so much to say, but based on what you have said, you know, the ADC, Osun ADC spokesperson, I'd like to ask you this question. Very simple, and I want you to be very straightforward. Do you think our next decision is a sign of bias towards the ruling party, or is it a neutral application of electoral laws, and how does INEC's decision impact the credibility of the electoral process in Nigeria? I would like to answer the first one first, and then the second one.
No electoral law said that INEC has the responsibility of delisting a political party. No, your responsibility is to monitor them. If the court so pronounced that delist, yes, that is meddlesome interloper. You do not have right to do what you did to ADC. No, you are absolutely wrong. So INEC soiled his hands and lost his credibility the moment he started interpreting what it is not interpretable. Status quo addendum, or however they call it in law, meant that go back to what it was before the case started. Yeah. Answer my question in a very simple thing. Was there any point in time when there was a vacuum in leadership of ADC? No.
Mr. Ambassador Oluwaseun.
Yes, I'm with you.
We equally have, two able men, resource person on the line as well. Mr. Lekon Olajobi, who is a public affairs analyst, a legal luminary, Dr. Segun Akeredolu. I'd like to ask them, sirs, are you in agreement with what Mr. Ambassador Oluwaseun is saying, that INEC has badly put their party or has left other parties without finding any fault with them? Because Dr. Akeredolu almost interpreted what Mr. Oluwaseun was saying now, that's okay. Antebellum means you go back to status quo, how things were before. So which line defines how things were? Because a lot of Nigerians are asking for clarity. You being a lawyer, Dr. Segun Akeredolu, can you put light to that before we ask a further question?
Thank you very much. You see, when things like this happen in Nigeria, everybody becomes a lawyer, everybody becomes a professional, everybody becomes a public analyst and all that. And people don't even consider the fact, especially when you blame the court, that the court you are blaming today was the court that had been there before the formation of any political party in Nigeria, and that it was not the court, it was not INEC that actually went to court as a court. It was the court itself that gave order to the INEC that INEC should maintain status quo. Now, when you talk about status quo antebellum, people are interpreting it to mean that the position or the situation before the matter was filed. That might not be correct for all purposes. One cardinal principle of law.
Which one is correct?
One cardinal principle of law. That's what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say now, one very important cardinal principle of the law is that the case decides the issue in it, and it's only an authority to that issue. Now, when you are talking about status quo antebellum, it simply means the position where parties were before the dispute arose, and not before you file the suit. That is the position. Now, we are talking about somebody was saying, I'm entitled to this position. The other person said, I'm entitled. And he went to court and said, court, at the point these people are talking about, I am the recognized or I'm the chairman of your party by virtue of our constitution. And now it's general constitution, it's generally organization's constitution that when the chairman of that organization or the president or the chairman of board of trustee or whatever name or tag they are used, immediately he cannot perform the function of that office automatically by the operation of the law. In most of the constitution of the parties or organization, it's the second person or the second person in command that will assume that position. That is what what's it called now? Bala took to court, and that's the question the court was asked to answer. So, if that is the question the court was asked to answer, now the court look at it, and the court made no pronouncement. Don't let us forget about this, especially the Federal High Court. But what happened was that somebody went to the Court of Appeal for what? For an interlocutory application, appeal against an interlocutory application. And the Court of Appeal now sent a message to, to INEC, and tell INEC, please maintain status quo antebellum. And what is the antebellum? So what the meaning of this? This simply means, the literal meaning of status quo antebellum is the state of affairs before the beginning of hostilities. Before the beginning of hostilities. Now, I'm citing what they call it, the one we call classical authority in this matter, and that's the case of Akaku versus Hakim Habib. And this matter got to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court gave that simple definition of status quo antebellum. Now the question is what is the problem, or what was the point at which hostility started in ADC?
Okay.
It was done when David Mark was recognized by INEC, but the decision that led to David and the other one, Bala Gobe, it was at that point when that decision was taken by some people, and that person began to question that. That is the point that the court will look at. And that is what is very important. If the Act Complaint Act.
All right, please come in. Come in before.
Okay.
Hold on.
Let me quickly say this.
Go ahead, Dr. Keredolu.
Wait. Let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let him land.
Now, what constitutes the hostility constitutes the wrongful act, complaint act of in the application. The wrongful act that Bala Gombe was complaining about was that David Mark was acting as the chairman of that party. That is the status quo antebellum. Nothing more, nothing less.
Thank you very much. So over to you now. Yes.
It might be difficult to. It might be very difficult to. You see, I'm not a learned colleague, so as they say, it's the learned colleague that just submitted now gave a very beautiful interpretation. Something was missing, even in his own submission. He admitted there was no point in time when there is space or vacuum in the leadership of ADC. He said, in his own words now, that David Mark assumed the chairman of the party already before a case was instituted. So I'm looking at the vacuum, one. Secondly, I'm looking at the vacuum that make INEC to say that there is now vacuum in the leadership. One. Two, Bala Gombe himself resigned the membership of KDC far back in May 2025.
He said his signature was forged.
You are not court of law. INEC is not court of law. That is the problem here now. Has any court pronounced that yes, his signature was forged? No. Until a competent court of law said that they forged his signature, INEC cannot now assume the role of interpreting the temple of justice. Okay. You understand? Okay. These are the issues we are talking about.
All right. That brings me to let's quickly, Mr. Lekan Olajobi. Yes, Paul. Let me quickly ask you this. Based on what Comrade has just said, the ADC spokesperson in Oyo State, I'd like to ask you, in Osun State rather, what are the broader implications of INEC's decision for Nigerian democracy, and how might it affect other opposition parties?
Well, you recall that when you asked me initially when I opened my conversation,
yes,
I was telling you about the drift with which our political parties has drowned themselves. It is just a topical issue right now that we are discussing. And you have had so many grammars being spoken now, and there's no end in sight to that particular conclusion. Why? Because they deviated from the ground norm. I'm speaking particularly to that legal luminary who is there. The controversy still stems from the fact that some of your colleagues who are learned, the ones with the silk, like Falano, when he interpreted antebellum, was not in the way that you interpreted it. And I know that is the law anyway. However, to go to the knowledge of common sense, one would see that the major issue right now does not have any end in view as long as we continue to rigmarole and do not go back to the ground norm of the Constitution, especially party formation. When you say all of these things, people just feel that, well, it doesn't matter. And I made that point the other time that why would you metamorphose into political parties that at every point in time you jump the ship whenever a political party that you belong to has perhaps lost election? And that was what happened. If you saw the formation of the opposition when they came up with the All Progressive Congress, it was not even a merger or a coalition per se. It was a coming together of a political system of people who believed so much and wanted to wrestle power from Jonathan as at that time. What did they do? They went through all the process. That party was not already registered by INEC. ADC has been registered by INEC before, and the people that came from other parties now, the likes of Mark, Aregbesola, and all of them, were either in PDP at that time or even in this APC, you know. And the funny thing is that APC was able to systematically form that party, and they changed the name of the party. They put it together, formed the coalition and the merger, and call it All Progressive Congress, which was registered.
The ADC wanted to register ADA as well, and they claimed that the INEC frustrated that effort, you know, for long.
It is not even about INEC frustrating. What I'm saying is that whenever there is an election, a new political party, you know how many political parties we had before now? They are just registered as we sell materials here and there. But the conclusion of the matter is now that ADC has been hijacked by some other people that is laying claim that they came from another party and took the party. And from that end, we know that the major reason is for them to come together and form a formidable opposition after they had run round all other parties. Until because that's the analysis, until political parties are formed. And this records us back into history. I still said it in one of the fora that during one of the things that we gained from Babangida's regime, whether we like it or not, we have experimented so many of these political systems and ideologies for a very long time. The one that gave us the most credible, fairest and freest results of election was between the SDP and the NRC. Whenever we are not following history or the course of history to at least improve upon such experiments, now we have people jumping ship. And after right now, if ADC is not even allowed the way they are going to have a leadership, once the timetable that is given by INEC is almost run out, they will jump into another political parties.
All right.
And political parties, excuse me, in the conclusion of what I want to tell you is this. Whether the legal luminary and the ADC men that you have invited, they have spoken so much grammar. At the end of the day, the court of law is there. Institutions are weak. We know that politics, that is just a game in Nigeria, that people take over good governance. Until we go back to either form two political parties, wherever, like America, when you are either a Republican, you can never be a Democrat, and vice versa. And let people just stay on the basis of that ideology. In America, we have generations upon generations who have become Republicans, and that's where they stay. It is not when you lose elections and you jump gun and political parties that are supposed to be formed and developed.
All right.
So until we go back to that ground norm, we will continue to be speaking grammars, and at the end of the day, our democracy will be the one to pay for it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
We'll take that as your closing submission.
Words
before Dr. Shagun Akedu reacts as well, Comrade Abosidi, if you can hear us,
I quickly have a question for him.
If, what's the lifeline, for your party? Because we hear now that the NDC is open to Atiku, Obi, Kwakwaso, others, a stranded politician. That's coming from Dixon, Sirake Dixon, founder and leader of the Nigeria Democratic Congress. If his party NDC is one of the options that you are going to be exploring, just in case INEC or maybe the court does not, dance to your tune.
The thing is, people should be resolute. We in ADC, we are resolute and we are focused and we know what we are doing. We will not succumb to any defeatist argument or invitation. To stop at one station of progress is to move backward. We have a temporary block now as a result of the weak institutions that we have in Nigeria, but it is not lost. We have been through this before. At a point in time, they have done a lot of things to prevent us from getting to this stage. We have gone too far than to move backward. Right. So the issue of moving or porting to any other party does not arise. We are focused. As I speak to you now, we are on the street in Abuja. We believe in the law. We believe in mass action. We believe in the press. We believe in international communities. And we are exploring all this avenue. And we know that we are going to succeed. So we are not looking anywhere else. ADC is what we are targeting, and I know that we are going to get there.
Comrade, very quickly, just before we go, the way forward, what steps can the ADC, what steps do you think your party can take to resolve its crisis and participate in the 2027 elections? That's one. And what role do you think civil society and other stakeholders can play in promoting electoral transparency? In fairness, in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It is just the turn of ADC today. It has been the turn of Labour Party, PDP. It is the turn of ADC today. We call on men of goodwill and conscience to act now. It is in the interest of the country. The way INEC is going, 2027 election or any election for that matter is threatened. They will just do whatever they like. As to what can be done, the lack of Femi Falana, who already have lent their credence. They are not members of ADC, but they have left their voice in condemning this thing that is happening. So we call on you journalists, gentlemen of the press, you gave us a platform now to make our voice heard. That is what we want. We like Shegun Okinbaloye has led his own voice that even due attack from Wike. So NJC, everybody is coming on board to say this thing is wrong. It should not be. So what we are clamoring for, the civil society in the street of Abuja today, as we speak now, they are protesting there. They are there. They are united in one voice. As I talk to you in Osun State, come by tomorrow, the civil society in Osun State here, they are going to be addressing a press conference. I would like your own station to monitor it as well. By Friday, people will be on the street protesting all these things. So we believe in mass action. We believe in the will of the people. We believe in the strength of the media. And we know that at the end of the day, common sense will prevail. Our institution that is eroded and weakened by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led APC and federal government will regain its sanity and due process will come on board again.
All right, Dr. Segun Akeredolu, do you see INEC not soiling its own fabric ahead of next general election?
Let me quickly quote the decision of the Supreme Court in the case of FATB versus Esugu. It was reported in 1993, 6 Nigerian Weekly Law Report, part 297, 1 at page 20. At paragraph B, the Supreme Court said, the phrase status quo antebellum means the state of things. Please mark my word. Before the war. That is what said. All right. See, going to street to protest from today to tomorrow will not change anything. The truth is, Nigerians, we should learn how to do things the proper way and stop jumping onto shortcuts. Because some people, they want short. Must you leave your party every time you lose an election? You jump from APC to Labour Party, from Labour Party to the. It won't work. No country can work like that. No situation will work like this. Let's follow the law. Let's do the right thing at all times. Forget about Femi Falana. Femi Falana was this individual that contested under. And they call the problem we have today. They are the one that went to court and forced the INEC then to register political party anyhow without anything. That's when conscious party was registered. That's when from 5 political parties, Nigeria jumped to about 54 political parties. No country run like this and you want anything to come out of it. That will be sanity in the system.
All right,
Thank you so very much.
Gentlemen, that is the much we can take on Glow Focus this morning. Many thanks to Mr. Lekon Olajobi, a public affairs analyst, for being part of the program. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
All right. And also to Comrade Bossede Oluwaseun, the man in charge of media and publicity of the African Democratic Congress, ADC in Osun State. Thank you very much. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you too. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Segun Akeredolu, thank you very much for your insight this morning.
Thank you, Nigeria, for listening to us. Thank you, Glow FM, for giving us the platform. And thank you, Mr. Abosede. Let ADC go and do the right thing. Thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that's what you can take on that segment. Thank you to the gentlemen who have spoken to us on the topic of discourse for today. The numbers to call are 0805 551 1110.
Just take a few reactions from people at
home. Or 0706 6771822. We're live on Facebook at Glow 99.1 FM Akure. That's the platform. You can drop your comments under the live streaming session. You may also listen to us live on Radio Garden. We're about to say our time is fast spent. We're not sure if we can take 1 or 2 more calls.
Yes,
we would accept
we'll try. And
but
I think I think we have one now. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Please move away from your radio set.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. Are you there? Are you there, sir? Can you hear me?
Do well to call us back.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Dayo Gumbi.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I'm listening attentively to your discussion, and I will ally with Dr. Akeredolu. The problem we're having is interlocutory injunction. Statutory antebellum. So, Dr. Akeredolu has explained, let the ADC go back to court and argue. If the court said what INEC has done is wrong, then INEC has to be bound with the judgment of the court. Now that they have not gone, let them go to court. Whatever the court says, that they should go and do their needful, then let them go and do it. If you refuse to go and vote, and we do the voting, nothing will happen. Nigeria will continue to move. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for making it very short this morning. That was his own reaction there. I guess we can say our byes now. Time is fast spent. It's been a swell time on the program this morning. It returns tomorrow 10 till 12 noon. Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational program where we look at issues in details and also sundry matters before we look at state of the nation affairs. And today we've looked at the delisting of the ADC leadership by INEC, and the matters therein. We've spoken to a resource person, including the person in charge of media and publicity of the ADC in Osun State. My name is Mike Alim Obafemi. Do join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. Bye for now.
Thank you very much to all the guests who accepted to talk to us on the program, and to, of course, to the callers who tried to reach us and were unable to reach us. We sincerely do apologize. Tomorrow is another day. Remember, there's a repeat of this program at 10 p.m. through 11 p.m. tonight on Glow 99.1 FM. Would like to say a very big thank you to our executive producer, Dr. Ezekiel Akonde, and to our producer, Akinwumi Abodu, and to the entire production crew. My name is Comfort Omolafe. Keep listening to Glow FM. Up next at noon is Midday News.